Okay, so I am constructing a world, an environment for you to explore, you to live and do whatever in. What would this environment be? What would be the dream, the ideal, or
easy.
something that from a book or from a movie?
No,
or
that's easy.
what would that be?
Give me a nice sailboat and a dock
What year?
and a house. Oh,
What location in the world?
well, since I'm dreaming, Newport Harbor, uh, probably a Cal 38, or I'm sorry, Cal 36, or even a Cal 28.
28-foot long boat, single mast,
Yeah, sloops.
asleep. Okay.
Yeah, fore-aft rig. And you can take Cal 28s have circled the globe.
Okay.
You could easily take one to Hawaii, and that's Bill's boat.
Okay, right. Okay.
And a private boat dock.
Okay.
And hot and cold running maids, and and a lot of spending cash. Okay, a lot of walking around loot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, what year? What year would this be?
Would this be?
What
Could have,
what
at
year?
Any age, at
what
any
what
age?
what age would you be? What year would this be? What?
Well, I'd want it to be after I'd taken boating and sailing. I mean, if you're going to base any of this in reality.
No, just whatever reality. Just like
So,
what's the story you would like? I mean, if this is a story you're going to read, this is or a movie you're going to watch, or a play, depicted,
Well, I was about 23 when I learned to
So-
was as good a sailor as I've ever been. Let's put it that way.
So a 23 young strapping lad, he's got himself a boat,
It's so strong and walk around in
and inherited, this boat from his, grandfather or something. Got some cash from, good old Gramps, and he's like, and he's in Newport. Newport, what state?
Newport's in Newport Beach, California,
Newport Beach, California.
where my dad used to keep his boat.
Okay,
And we lived in Laguna.
So it's a more residential, touristy, part of California. It's there's coves here and there. There's large coves, where they have main piers, lots of different boats, marinas, and where it's full of personal yachts, sloops.
John Wayne kept his boat there.
John Wayne kept his boat there.
It was his destroyer escort.
I mean, so and you'll see some the boats will be as small as maybe 15 feet, right?
There are a lot of big 60,
right,
80 foot.
but I mean, some of the small ones would be like what 15, feet.
Oh,
that's like really small. But
tenders.
Normally like 20, between 20
the boats
some odd
in
feet.
Newport Harbor today. 35.
So what year?
feet.
What year do you want this to be?
Oh,
The 60s.
if I could go back in time.
I mean, so what year?
I would like to be 23 years old in 1955.
1955, Newport, California.
Newport
Which
Beach.
and that's even further back than the 60s. So that's that place is more agricultural.
It was before you drove through. So we'd get down there from Pasadena.
Yeah.
You would drove through miles and miles of orange grove.
Yeah, orange groves. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
You go
farming
down
country.
MacArthur Road, and it was
Yeah.
fields on both sides. Now it's just solid.
There would be like one little pier down there and it's just like a little.
People actually launched in the morning when the surf was down. They launched dories from the beach.
Yeah.
There were boathouses down on the beach.
Yeah.
The place we rented had a boathouse in its
Right.
on its property, and you could take the boat out of there and get it down to the beach.
Okay.
It was a small enough dory. A couple of men could wheel it down there.
Okay. So, let's say you wake up after a night of partying and drinking and having fun with the girls, and you're on your grandfather's boat, his yacht or his sloop, his 23.
Sloop. Well,
so
it's got to be at least 28 foot, 36 foot if you're big.
20 here. Write this down for me so that way I keep track of your little. That's.
Okay.
You got another piece of paper? All right.
28 to 36 feet.
Oh, here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Use this.
I mean, surfing was just getting invented.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you're
The
23,
white folks.
a 23-year-old lad, out of college. Maybe you went to college, maybe you dropped out. You're smart enough. Like so, just like the name of the boat, how long it is, how many cabins, or how much space is in it. It's because it wouldn't
Well,
exactly have a
this'll
galley.
sleep,
It just has.
My dad's buddy Lope, we put 11 people on his 28-foot boat, but it was a big, heavy wooden boat.
Right, right.
But anyway, you can maybe 2 to 6. You can maybe
Yeah.
2
Okay.
to. You might put 8 people in there.
But one guy can sail it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 28 especially. But
Yeah.
it's nicer to have more
Okay.
room. Sky. If I mean, when I was 23, I mean that's when the adventure. I'm of age.
Right.
I have cars. Women are chasing me. It's not all me chasing them, And that was the adventurous time of my life, from like 23 to probably the point where I met your mother, and then that's a whole different other kind of adventure.
Mm.
But
I got you.
you're the treasure there.
So you wake up and you just know that you got this yacht or this boat from your grandfather and the money because it was in the will.
Of course. Yeah.
And as far as you know,
Boat dock for life.
your grandfather died, and you can't really recall the circumstances of it. But you're waking up. You're digging around for breakfast, for whatever little knickknacks, and in the kitchen, the galley, you find some letters, some envelopes. There's some writing material in there, and you're looking at them, and you realize like, okay, this is some correspondence between your grandfather and a woman.
Oh.
And you're just like, oh, okay, it's this. Your grandfather and this woman were talking about the future, how there's money that she needed for a project, and they're also how they're planning their wedding. And the grandfather was complaining that and he writes in there as a joke like, if I had died, you get all this inheritance money, and that would give you like you be able to do whatever you wanted, and like ha ha ha, he writes in there. But he's just kind of complaining about how he can only do so much with the money he has, because he's retired. He has enough money for retirement, and he's living off it. He's on his boat. He's sailing the world. He's having a good time.
You reach a point in life where money isn't the limiting factor.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, your health, your desire to go out and rough it to get someplace, that kind of stuff becomes more of a limiting factor.
Yeah.
And you realize that, compare money to your grandchildren. How much would you give for your grandchildren? There's no amount of money in the world, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's things that are way more important than money.
Yeah, right.
Money's nice,
Right.
If you're going to be miserable, it's better to be rich.
Right.
But don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
but there's a lot. I've had a lot of satisfaction from work, believe
Right.
it or not.
So when you're looking over these letters, and you're realizing like, okay, so this woman, her name was Susan, and
This is my grandfather's affair that I've stumbled across.
your grandfather was single. He's retired. He's living a good life, and and this woman named Susan, who he just kind of came across and starting this relationship with, and they're writing letters because it's the 50s, and you notice like, okay, well, they would go to the Red Crab diner downtown, like in the little community of San Marcos, or not San Marcos, Newport Beach. So there's little, it's called the Red Crab Cafe, and they would also stay at the Shelter Inn, right?
Laguna Motor Lodge.
Laguna Motor Lodge. Okay, yeah.
We stayed there anyway.
Right, and so you're like, okay, and you're just kind of like curious, well, who is this woman, that your grandfather has a relationship with? But that's just if you're curious, that's just something that's you're noticing in the letters. There's this relationship with a woman. They're talking about money.
Is this a plot device?
It's funny you mentioned that. So you're on this little boat, And what do you want to do anything?
What do you do?
Like, or what would you want to do? Like
I got, Lonely Voyages.
you have a car that's on the shore because you drove your car from your home to Newport to get the boat, and that's you have money and some cash in your pocket.
In those days, I can remember in 1955. I remember my dad. We had one car.
What would you want to do? What do you want to do right now?
With my mother.
What do you want to do right now, or what would you want to do?
Right now.
So if you're in this fictional environment, what would you want to do right now? What's the thing you'd want to do? It's like you woke up.
I'd still like the boat. I'd still like a Newport.
Would you want to go sailing? Would you want to?
Of course.
Where would you want to sail?
Well, how about a few trips to Catalina, get my crew up and ready, then go to Hawaii.
Wait, so this boat requires a crew, or you can do it by yourself?
It's more fun sailing with folks, but...
How many people would you want to get on the boat?
If it depends on the size of the boat.
Well, what's the size you put?
Well, I said 28 to 36 feet. So
we'll say a 36. A 36-foot boat. How many cabins? How much space can? How many people?
They're generally
comfortably would you fit on there?
You'll have a couple little up here in the bow. You might have a couple in the stern, and then you have your cockpit here. And if you're just going to Catalina, people can sleep in the cockpit. But you will have a dinette that will fold, a table. You'll usually have like a head and then a galley, but you'll have a dinette and the table folds down into a double bed. And over here you'll probably have a settee or something else that folds down into a bed. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 here, 6, 7, And then, like I said, if it's just a day trip, you can, or just an overnighter, you can. We slept when we slept on Lope's boat. It's a little simpler layout, but it had this and it had some in the middle. It didn't have any stern bunks. We just slept out here on the deck. It had about a 6-inch rail, build up thing, and we just slept out there or in the cockpit. We had 11, most of them were kids. They're just all over the boat. And Al and my brother Al and Lope were 4-hour trip to Catalina, right? 11 hours later, we're out there drinking, got turned around, and got lost. This is a guy who's been to Tahiti.
What year is this?
This would have been, I would have been 12, so it would have been about 61 or 62. Yeah, so but finally in the morning, we're there and we're anchored, but oh God, what a night.
I see.
So we had a good time. We stayed there a week, and Lope in the morning would hand us a hand spear. We didn't even have Hawaiian slings.
Yeah.
Say, go get breakfast. And we'd go out and spear halibut, get abalone, lobster if we could, and...
what location is that?
This was in it's Crescent Bay or Crystal Harbor. It's on the west end of Catalina Island on the southern side.
Okay. Wow.
You would have been. We anchored. We put.
Okay, so 1955 or 50 or 53. Like what year did you want? 53 or 55?
Probably 55.
Okay, so 55. No Newport Beach. You got this boat. You got some money. You can sail wherever you want, pretty much.
And if I'm 23 years old.
Yeah, I mean, would you want to go to Mexico? Would you want to go up to Canada? Sure. Would you want to aim for Hawaii? Even would you want to
you could do all of those,
or would you like go Pacific Rim? Even?
By the way, I don't think those boats existed then, not in that exact form, but other boats existed.
Okay,
they're good boats.
Okay. So, well, that's the thing. I mean, I want to. So, you want to 1965 and boats like that exist?
Bill's boat was like a 67 or 68, something like that. So they were around then.
All right. I mean, or is there an equivalent boat like that?
Yeah,
in
sure,
55.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just want to make sure. So, I mean, so let's say, you're an ambitious guy. You read all the books that you could have read at that time. You were raised on Kipling and, whatever.
I was a reader.
Yeah, yeah, like yeah. What kind of guy? So what kind of
a lot
ideal
of
person would you
American
be
and British
if you could have
fiction and history.
crafted? So if you could have crafted the dream person that you could have been, or this dream person, like who is this Odysseus?
Kennedy without the bullet.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
The guy
So
seemed to be doing okay for himself.
so would you have been a veteran, like, or would you like?
At the age of 12, I was seriously thinking
So
of being a
you as a
naval officer.
25-year-old, would you be a veteran?
Well,
Like, would you have served
knowing what I knew at 25.
Would you, as a 25-year-old in this scenario, would you be a veteran? Would you have been a veteran?
Well, then now we're into choosing because I wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. If you could have chosen,
No, if I could have chosen, and
you would not have been a veteran.
And knowing what I know now, no.
Okay, all right. So and remember, you could be any nationality. You could be from any place in the world.
If I'd been around and of age in World War II, I would have fought the
We're not.
Nazis,
So we're 55,
Yeah,
right? So
55.
okay, so you're just some rich kid inheritor. Who you've been sailing on boats.
The basic problem with that is you don't have a purpose in life other than having fun.
And then that's what I'm saying.
Which is not a bad
well,
thing.
that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, what's the purpose? Like, you got this boat, you have some money, but like, what's your purpose right now? What's like something you want to do, or what's a goal you would have?
Well, it's always been my goal to travel. I always enjoyed traveling, but I always enjoy getting home too.
So you just want to travel and write about it? Maybe
I
write
also,
stories,
at the age of
or
12,
like,
I will be a naval officer.
you would join,
a writer.
like you would join a or work for a travel log magazine, perhaps write journals of your experiences.
That wouldn't appeal to me too much.
Then what's your purpose for traveling, other than you have money to do it?
I like the adventure of it.
So
and back then when I used to do a lot of that kind of traveling, we were chasing girls.
Would you hire yourself out?
For adventure.
Could you hire yourself out then as a captain? You could take an elderly couple somewhere.
I worked as a lifeguard in Guatemala.
I mean, would you hire yourself out as a like if somebody nefarious said, "Hey, I have some cargo, no questions asked, just needs to go to this place." Would you do that and take the money? And
turning into a Chandler novel, Sky.
If that's because you want that boat, you want to be able to sail and be free, and that you have that boat, right? If that was offered to you.
Yeah, but wait a minute. In this fantasy world, I already had it.
Right.
Who took my boat away?
But you have to maintain it. You have to put fuel in it, right?
That's
you
true.
need a crew
back
for it.
then, the boats required a lot of maintenance. You were pulling them out of the water once a year.
Yeah, because this is a diesel engine at the time,
Yeah,
or
you wanted
and is it a clean or a dirty diesel engine?
In those days, nobody was particularly worried about dirty diesels.
Yeah, because like a dirty diesel meant like more maintenance, right? More
diesel fuel.
It burned more fuel, more
It's
maintenance.
cheap. It is harder to work on. It's not necessarily more maintenance. It can be less maintenance, but
Right.
you got to have specialized tools.
Yeah.
The pressures are involved are a lot higher.
Gotcha. Okay.
Anyway.
All right. So, but yeah. So you realize like, well, you have this boat, but you want to keep it, and you want to keep this lifestyle, and how are you gonna earn the money to do it? Would you get a day job, or would you go on an adventure? Because you can't work a day job and have a boat. Like you have this boat, you want an adventure, you want to.
Well, actually, considering my dad
because if
had
you went
a 32-foot boat,
if you
in
went to the
harbor,
Red Crab Cafe, and like you're just sitting there moping about like, man, I got this boat and I'm partying up with the laser night, and
things are a lot cheaper.
and then you get to know the bartender there, the guy who works there, and the guy says, you talk to this guy regularly, you know what he does, running the Red Crab Cafe, and he knows how you inherited this boat, and how you just been going about your life, and he's like, hey, you want to get some? You want to make some money on the side? Let me know. I know some guys. Would you take him up on the offer?
Read books on.
Would you take him up on the offer? Would you like if you offered you said, hey, there's a job.
Money on the outside. Well, who do I got to kill? No, it depends.
He said no. It's just it's clean. It's clean. It's just would you like a job? I know a guy who'll contact you if you want a job. Would you take him up on it?
Maybe. I mean, you're not giving me enough to let me allow
because it's been what, weeks, or a couple weeks of you sitting there drinking, having fun, and
are we talking minimum wage dishwashing, or are we talking
because
being the dope buyer for Haile Selassie? What are we talking about here?
Before you So as you're walking back to the wharf to get to your dinghy, to get to your boat,
Yeah.
a guy looks like a regular dude who works at the place. White guy, he's got a business shirt on, because it's summertime. It's nice time. He looks like a businessman kind of thing. Sort of dress shoes, slacks, business shirt. He's got his jacket, kind of business jacket, because everybody back then wore jackets, and they had their Stetson hats and
Now you're
whatever.
doing a screenplay.
But he's got his jacket over his shoulder or on his arm, because he doesn't want to sweat in it. And he says, "Hey, young man, I heard that you could use some money, or you're looking for a job."
Who do I gotta kill?
Yeah. Well, no.
Okay, well, you gotta give me more to
laughs
go
at you.
on.
You just see he seems like a decent enough looking guy. Maybe a little scruffy, but clean looking businessman. He's like, no. I just have some sensitive artwork that my boss wants shipped.
Here's a job I could do. Let me maybe.
It's down in Mexico. All you got to do.
Treasure hunter. There's a good, exciting. Did you see the Matthew McConaughey movie where him and the little blonde are out?
So what it is
that would be fun.
He bought some Aztec, art, and we're like, the Mexicans are like, we don't want that Aztec art, out of the country or whatever, and so it's just art, it's just like some stones, it's like a really like wicked looking dragon, or it's a tiger looking thing, look crazy looking mouth, that's what my boss likes, and if you're interested, all you got to do is sail down to, Puerto del Sur of Mexico. And you meet a guy there. He'll give you this crate.
Yeah.
You can fit on your boat. I know you can. In fact, there might be 2 or 3 crates, but it's heavy stone. I know you can fit on your boat. And
in other words,
and I'll pay you like
I'm smuggling in Precambrian
and so we'll pay you like $5,000.
Colombian art, yeah.
So $5,000. This will probably take you. What 4 weeks?
And if the cartels get you, and you spend the rest of your short life in an oil drum.
There's no such thing as cartels at this point.
Back then they
like
weren't
there's
such a big deal.
the mob, the mafia, but he's like, it's like he's not part of the mob. Like, no. This is Mr. Hernandez of.
There's a book I should get for you. It's called The Silver Shoals, and it's about a tocha.
This guy says
It's a
no, he's
real
working
wreck.
for this dude. His name's Mr. Hernandez, and Mr. Hernandez has connections in the local real estate, in the local finance districts. It's just this is what the guy does. He entertains and works with all these
Here's a
high
simpler one.
people.
You
just
and Adam go down there.
So
and
he
look for old
just is interested in
violins.
hiring you to help him bring some art for his guys. Would you be interested in that job?
If it's illegal and in Mexico,
It's not illegal. All right, then he walks away.
Good.
All right. So now, so
Good.
so what are you gonna do to make
I've
money?
had those kind of offers down there. No.
So what are you gonna do to make money?
There's one answer. The short answer, no.
What would you do to make money?
To make money, back then in well, of course, if I know what I know now, I just go out and bet on sporting events and ball players and things like that.
So you want to go to the racing track and gamble the little bit of money you have left?
I know that Seabiscuit won the Kentucky Derby.
Well, there's no Seabiscuit in the local races. You pick up the local newspaper and you see who's going to race, and it's like there's no Seabiscuit. So.
Actually, gambling back then was a problem because if you weren't at the track, about the only place you could make a bet was.
Would you want to go to the track and talk to somebody?
I think I'd probably go to a foreign country. Well,
you can sail to Mexico.
You could maybe go to France or someplace. I don't know if it's legal over there. And
It would take you a long time to sail to France.
Fittipaldi won 25 races. And if you just bet him, the odds are,
Would you rather you started your adventure in France?
That might be fun. Probably London.
So, like, what part of France? Like, what coastline?
Well, I think I'll be staying with the guy.
Because you visited the north, right?
I have visited Cannes.
Okay. Well, then
And I
hold
drove all
on.
over Cannes, drove all